OMG, we've got a lot to discuss today, and we're just going to get right into this. Welcome to the Podcast of Champions. This is the Orange and Black Soccer Cast.
And the air leaves Allang Stadium in one large exhale. Trouble. Arosarena's beat. Orange County opens the scoring. It's Thomas. Kuninga scores! The old guard with a new trophy.
This is the Orange and Black Soccer Cast, the first and only podcast dedicated to Orange County Soccer Club, its fans, and supporters. Follow us on Twitter at OCSC_SoccerCast or on Facebook at Orange and Black Soccer Cast.
How's it going, Orange County? Welcome to another episode of the Orange and Black Soccer Cast, the first and only podcast dedicated to Orange County Soccer Club, its fans, and supporters. I'm your host, Ray Samora, and I'm going to take you through this journey as we discuss all things Orange County Soccer Club, and there's plenty to talk about. So let's get right into this. Let me sort of welcome everyone that's going to be a part of this, at least as of right now, and joke's on you, Harry. One of those members that you've mentioned in the comments isn't here quite yet. We'll see if they show up. So we're going to go first down to San Diego and Mr. USL Show himself. Alan, how you doing, my man? Thanks for warming up our listeners to get prepped for this show.
No problem. Things are going well. It's right before spring break, so frayed ends and a little bit tried patience at times, but glad to be here to talk more footy tonight.
No, it's awesome. We're always excited to talk about footy and you know, focusing on Orange County, but we'll see how things go. Let's head on up north and a little bit to the west to Reno, where we got Brad up in Reno. You're sporting a retro shirt there tonight, Brad.
Yeah, I figured I'd break it in. My lead in today is, what does a television deal and lots of money coming to Orange County have in common, and why am I burying the lead there? More on this in the episode.
More on that, whatever he just said, later on in the episode. But let me also bring on one person who is our guest tonight, a friend of the show, and someone that I owe a deep apology to for our blunder when it came to our
that was actually not bad
award show. That was I'll have to say this though. We got Edson from Down in the Valley podcast. Edson, welcome to the show. And I have to say that was probably one of the funnest moments of that episode, in all honesty. So I mean, you probably did that on purpose, right?
No, I guess it's one of those things where I was editing Jacob's, and then when I was editing mine, I was kind of running out of time, so I kind of overlooked the actual editing of mine. But no, it's all good. That was, like I said, that was on my end, but it's great to be back with y'all to talk about RGVFC for all of your audience to listen to.
Yeah, so I guess we were on the same page there because I was doing the exact same thing. I think I was editing it like 5 minutes before we were about to go live with it, trying to put it all together. So that's why I didn't catch it in time. But again, it was one of the funny moments of that episode. Luckily, our producer, once he realized what was happening, Andy, he pulled it off and he's like, let's not keep this going. We'll just move on. So welcome once again. So what we're going to do for this episode, there's a lot to talk about, but for, you know, to be kind to our guest Edson, who is a couple hours ahead of us on the clock, we're going to jump right into the preview of our upcoming match. So we're going to do things a little bit backwards than we normally would. We're going to go to the preview of our next match, which is against RGV Toros. Or what's the proper way to say that, Edson? Teach me how to say the team name.
RGVFC Toros or RGV Toros. It's correct.
Okay. I always mess up because there's all these teams. I was trying to figure out, like Colorado Springs Switchbacks FC and all this weird stuff. There's some of these names are like 5 or 6, 7 words long. It sometimes get difficult. But yes, so Orange County is going to have their home opener this weekend, along with a beer fest this weekend at Championship Soccer Stadium, hosting RGV Toros. It's bound to be a very energetic atmosphere at the club. It's the first time the home fans are going to witness Orange County as champions in their home stadium playing a match. And it'll be interesting to get RGV here. Give us your rundown. We're watching some highlights that our producer Andy has thrown up on the screen of the RGV Oakland match. Tell us your thoughts on how that match went for RGV and what does it mean for the team heading into Orange County.
Well, as a lot of people that follow RGV can tell you, um, RGV decided to pretty much redo their squad compared to last season. I know Wilmer Cabrera has mentioned that they lost about 70% of last season's squad that made it to the playoffs, and so they it was intentional according to him. So it was that incognito of seeing how RGV was going to be playing this season with all these new players, especially with the fact that RGV decided not to mention anything about preseason, who played in their preseason matches or what their scores were even there. So it was a huge incognito to see if RGV was going to continue with that high pressure system that they had established last season. And right off the bat in this game, you could see that where their intention was to be as offensive as possible, trying to put that high pressure, create those opportunities for themselves, and forcing the defense of Oakland Roots to create mistakes. They had some opportunities that really were not on target. That was one of the things that kind of was questionable at the moment. Frank Lopez had an opportunity on the 28th minute that he completely missed, and then the 34th he scores the lone goal of the match, which was also the lone shot on target for RGV in that game. But defensively it was a completely different story. They were able to play well, not only in the high pressure moments of the match where they were pressing high up, but in the second half, they played a little bit deeper and allowed Oakland to kind of get in closer to their 18-yard box. But even then, in total, the Roots only managed to get 2 shots, and both of them were off target in those whole 90-plus minutes of the match. So far, RGV has looked good defensively. It's still a work in progress offensively.
So let me ask you this, because I know, especially our producer Andy was on Twitter quite a bit, sort of talking. I think some of us also were doing this after Orange County eliminated San Antonio last season. It was sort of questioning the fitness of San Antonio, and they, were playing really high energy, high pace, high press in that match. So when it got into the extra time, they were, cramping up. They were just huddled over while Orange County's like walking strong. Is this something that plays into Orange County and their fitness levels and their style of play? If they're just gonna let you guys run like crazy and press all over and just sort of that bend don't break mentality, or does RGV have an answer in those situations that you've seen? I know it's very limited, one match so far, so you can't really tell the tactical changes. But do you think RGV will be able to change the pace if it's not working? The high press?
I really think that they can. Like I mentioned, I think Wilmer Cabrera, like he said in the post game press conference, no team, especially this early in the season, can do a high pressure defensive tactic for a full 90 minutes. So his intention to see what would happen with lying deep and just closing down the spaces for Oakland Roots. It worked against Oakland, and Oakland, has some firepower, like Juan Carlos Azocar, who was really good for RGV in his moments here. That used Fornella who used to be with Sacramento Republic. So it wasn't just any other team. They had some firepower, but they limited them. So in case that high pressure system doesn't work, you could see those opportunities where they'll just kind of give Orange County the ball and try to close down the spaces and not get them close to inside the 18-yard box. Will it work? I'm not sure. Like I said, we haven't seen anything from them in preseason. We only saw, I think at most it was like 20 minutes where they played deep, and then they kind of reverted back to playing the high pressure. So we'll see how that works for Wilmer Cabrera. Now, you also have to remember, and it kind of surprised a lot of people, was that neither Gringo Torres nor Juan David Cabezas were even on the bench in this past game against Oakland Roots. The midfielders that were in the starting 11 were a little bit more offensive based, like Isidro Martinez, Juan Pablo Torres, and Emilio Icaza. So maybe that could be a disadvantage for RGV not having a true defensive midfielder playing against Orange County SC.
So I'm going to do this. We have more questions for you, but really quick, because we do have some fans that are watching on the live stream. Again, if you're listening to the podcast, join us on Tuesday evenings, 8:30 Pacific time on the live stream, and chat with us, and we'll interact with your chats. And so what I want to do is I'm going to open up now. Anyone that's on the live stream, if you want to throw in a question for Edson, throw it into the chats, and our producer will get it popped up on the screen when we have a moment. But I'm going to ask you this really quick, Edson, and we're going to get into this news a little bit later, but some very big reports came out that one Ronaldo Damas is looks like he's going to be leaving Orange County and heading to Europe. As an outsider, as a someone that's honestly, you're probably you're hoping Orange County doesn't repeat as champions or anything like that. What does it feel like as an opposing fan to see a player like Ronaldo Damas potentially moving on outside of the league?
Honestly, it doesn't really matter if it's somebody from another team, but just the fact that another league is looking at USL Championship players, that's only good things for the league as a whole. It means that if you grab these players from the USL Championship, move them abroad or wherever they're at, and they perform well, they're going to start looking at other USL Championship players. And who knows? Maybe in the future, RGV could benefit from selling a player abroad, and that only, if done right, that will only help with the reputation of the USL Championship within this US soccer pyramid.
And I believe it's the same team that Forrest Lasso went to out there in Europe. So definitely some scouting going on from the European clubs. I know the Swedish league isn't the top league in Europe, but it's still, a pretty decent thing to see. I did see a question that came up from El Patron de Grayson. And I was going to call you out. I wanted to ask you about that. You're wearing that Astros hat. Is that on purpose to try and get under the skin of these Southern California baseball fans that might be paying attention to this stream?
No, but if that is what's causing a little bit of controversy, then I am very glad I actually grabbed this hat.
Do you have like one of those world famous metal trash cans somewhere in the studio there behind you or anything like that you can bang if it's going to be a certain type of question coming your way, if we're throwing you a curve?
No, sadly, I don't have the budget for it. All I have is a bit of plastic bins. So,
but the question on part of the Astro thing is does RGV cheat as much as the Astros? I know it's sort of a joking question, but hey, we all know in this sport, the sport of soccer, there's some gamesmanship that goes on, right? We've talked about it in the past with Rob Kieran with Orange County trying to get under the skins of some of the San Diego players. Alan's all familiar with that. Do you ever notice any of your players out there, RGV, that are maybe playing a little dirty or trying to get away with a couple things here and there, an extra tug of the jersey or a swipe at someone hoping the ref doesn't see? Or does RGV play a pretty clean game?
I think from those players that tend to be dirty, or dirty in air quotes, they didn't play against Oakland. And it's Eric Pimentel, who's usually that defender that is usually involved in a yellow card, especially last season. And of course, Juan David Cabezas. And Juan David Cabezas has been like that since his days at the Houston Dynamo. He's not dirty aggressive, but he is aggressive enough that he will not think twice if he has to tug a shirt to stop a player from creating danger on his goal.
Awesome. Let me throw it down to Alan if you have a question for Edson heading into this match.
Yeah, is there I shouldn't say concern. Is there any concern that RGV is going to revert to a couple years ago where pretty dangerous at home, but maybe not as potent on the road? Or do you think RGV has kind of learned from the past, and because they made some strides forward last year, that they're going to be a little bit more dangerous on the road?
I feel like Wilmer Cabrera has kind of learned from his time not only with RGV in 2016, but also with the Houston Dynamo. When he was with the Houston Dynamo, that was exactly his issue. His Houston Dynamo of 2017 was extremely dangerous at BBVA Stadium in Houston, but as soon as they started playing away, it was like a completely different team, a more conservative team. Considering that you had players like Albert Elise and Romel Kyoto and Mauro Manotas, and like you had no excuse to play conservative and kind of betray your play style in order to try to go for that draw. I think Wilmer Cabrera has kind of gotten past that, and we saw it last season where RGV tended to be a lot more aggressive, almost as aggressive as they usually are at home. So honestly, I don't think that we will see a conservative RGV playing on the road.
Is that your only question there, Alan?
How do you feel about blue and orange? I mean, it seems to be a pretty consistent color scheme down there. No, I mean, I think
it's funny though, because when I was watching the final between you guys and Tampa Bay, the first thing I did when I turned it on and I saw that you guys were also wearing the blue kits, white shorts, and orange numbers, I'm like, man, I wish I could say that was RGV playing the final, because it was like the exact same scheme that we used last season. I think had it not been that you guys have been using Adidas and we're Puma now, I've been like, man, like it's RGV up there on the screen. But no, I think it's a nice combination. So kudos.
Let's hand it off to Brad. Brad, do you have any questions for Edson? Brad's like, nope, I don't have anything. Everyone asked all the questions that I was planning to answer. Let me ask you this really quick, Edson. Better kit designer, Puma or Adidas?
I've always been very. I think Adidas has been my favorite kit maker.
I was gonna say he wants to say Adidas, but he doesn't want to turn his back on his own club.
Mostly because of the fact, like I had been very partial towards Adidas ever since Tigres started wearing them, and but honestly, I think when it comes to the templates, like for lower league clubs, I think Puma has done more to kind of embrace lower league divisions here in the US than Adidas. I feel like Adidas, like it continues to be, those cookie cutter templates, which are really, really nice, honestly. And let's not forget the fit on Adidas is a lot more normal than those extremely sporty fit from Puma, but to answer that question, I think overall, I think Adidas. I would prefer Adidas.
So let's get into some predictions of this match. And I'm going through like just sort of trying to find the predictions that have been coming through. But I'll tell you right now, it hasn't been nice for your RGV team. But honestly, we are an Orange County Soccer Club podcast, so you would anticipate that there's going to be a lot more love for Orange County. But I will say a lot of our fans tend to be pretty realistic on some of the scores, and then we have people outside of Orange County. But I'm seeing some scores coming through in the predictions. El Patron de Grayson with a 3-1 for Orange County. Russell with a 2-1 for Orange County. I think I saw Harry with what was Harry with a 1-0, I think. And then also Mikey with a 1-0. You got Andy Palomo, or is it Palomo? Yeah, with a 2-1 scoreline. If RGV will play conservative, that's going to be it. But we'll see how it goes there. Yeah. And so Edson, what do you think of these predictions? And is RGV going to upset a lot of people based on what these predictions look like?
Honestly, I think that that 3-1's it might be a little bit overboard than compared to what I think I've seen from RGV defensively. I don't think that RGV is so bad defensively that they'll allow 3 goals in the game. The possibility is always there, but I think more realistically for me, if you ask me for my prediction, it would be 1-1, because I think they're going to be decent defensively to limit the opportunities by OC. but I feel like just one particular play, like outstanding play from Orange County, is gonna get the goal. Offensively, like I mentioned, is still a work in progress for RGV. The fact that they had, I think it was like 16 shots, but only one on target, was a little concerning for me. But I do think that with Frank Lopez, Dylan Borjak, and Ricky Reese, they might have that one accurate pass cross into the box that Frank Lopez is gonna put into the back of the net. I think for me, that's based on what I've seen from both clubs. I think that's the most reasonable in my eyes prediction.
Awesome. Let's just go around the board here really quick. Predictions from Brad, Allen, and then we can wrap things up and let Edson go get some rest because it's getting late over there. I know it. Allen, you first. Prediction.
I'm going to agree with the 1-0. I think both teams are going to play each other pretty defensively. I think Orange County being at home is going to get that a little bit of an advantage. RGV is a much more dangerous team at home than they are on the road. So I'm going to pick an Orange County victory at 1-0.
Brad, do you got a prediction for this match?
Of course, I'm going to say Orange County is going to win this one 2-0.
And Brad stole my prediction. I was going to go 2-0. I think there's going to be a lot of pent-up energy from Orange County fans at this opening home match for the club. Fans, a lot of the fans were very frustrated, upset about Orange County's defense of the title being on the road in Colorado Springs. So I think it's going to be a lot of energy there. The only concern maybe is if you have some local Southern California fans that were thinking of coming out to the match, but now they can sit at home and watch it on Bally Sports West. Maybe, but I don't think that's the case. I think for a home opener, first chance to see your defending champions, the trophy, the cup will be there. Everyone's fan favorite mascot Gnarly will be there. So I think it's going to be a party atmosphere. And I'm sorry, I think it was Harry that asked the question, whose banner is going to be bigger, Orange County's or New York's? I can't answer that other than we'll have to wait and see what that looks like at Championship Soccer Stadium. Edson, you have any last thoughts, comments, anything for us before we let you head out?
Just a question to you all. What, with the inclusion of El Cubo Torres that has already been coached under Wilmer Cabrera, how do you think that is going to impact how Orange County is gonna be using him as an attacking reference?
Do you want to take that, Alan?
I mean, I think he's going to play more of the Ugo Okoli role of maybe not the speed guy, but you use the speed guy to create space for a player like Cubo Torres. I think you're going to use some guys up top to kind of stretch the defense, and he can find the space in between. Or you put a guy up top, kind of like a target man, but he's not going to be the speed guy, right? So I can see him kind of being as like a little bit more, I don't want to say old school two striker attack, but I think he can team up pretty well with a pacier striker that can really put some pressure on the back line, and he can come in and put the ball in the back of the net. But I mean, we've only seen 3/4 of the game from him, so we'll have to see. Because Richard Chaplow is a much smarter soccer person than I am.
And we'll have to see because who's going to be that pacey option for Orange County going forward if the reports that we're hearing are true about Ronaldo Damas. But yeah, I think they're a big part of Kubo being brought in is to try and build the fandom from some of the local Hispanic community, Latino community, Latinx community. So they're trying to go there. You already had Michael Orozco there. Now you're adding Kubo in there. But it's going to probably take some time. And this is things I think Orange County fans, we've gotten used to this over the last, 4 or 5 seasons is a lot of the time. It takes some time for them to figure things out. They don't ever get out to really great starts. I know I believe our producer Andy was throwing out some stats earlier today on Twitter that Orange County is not very successful on their opening matches. And you look at our opponent this last week, Colorado Springs, they're really good on their opening matches. I think part of that probably has to do with, you can train better when you're on the higher altitudes like they are, regardless if you're opening games at home or on the road. You're going to be in better condition because you had to run around in the mountains for a few weeks before you get started. So that's how that goes. But yeah, you have any last things to throw on top of that, Brad? Nope. Yeah, we'll have to figure out. Maybe we'll figure this out afterwards, because I know Harry asked the question, "What does Brad have against Edson?" Because Brad doesn't want to talk in this conversation here.
Brad has made a decision to keep tally on everybody's scores, and he is trying to
He's
figure out a
busy.
system. He's trying to figure out a system that's like organized. It looks good though.
There we go. Edson, anything else for us, or are you ready to go get some sleep?
No, I think that's pretty much it for me. I just have to remind y'all that in all of history, between RGV and the Orange County team, whether it was the Blues or OCSC at Championship Stadium, RGV has won 3, Orange County has won 2. Will this trend continue, or will OC equalize in that series? Thank y'all for the invite, guys.
I feel like we should have been going to commercial right there or something after that stat gets brought up. It sounded like a lead into a commercial break. Go change it up. Hey, really quick, Edson, let our listeners know if they want to hear more from you, if they want to check you out on your podcast, where can they go?
Sure. You guys can check out my podcast. It's available in all of your favorite podcasting platforms. You can find us as Down in the Valley Podcast. We usually have a new episode every Tuesday. And we don't go live anymore on YouTube, but we do post the recording video on there as well, so you can check it out. You can follow me on Twitter and on Instagram at eochoa_8, and also check out my articles regarding RGVFC on the Striker Texas. You can find all of my analysis and recaps of RGVFC with the Striker Texas.
Awesome. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, that's Edson Ochoa from Down in the Valley podcast. Check him out. Check out, is Jacob's still with you, right? So check those guys out on their podcast, and we'll have to get Jacob on here so we can try and find out who is the better RGV Down in the Valley podcaster in the near future. We'll have a vote for that. That'll be a special award in our award show at the end of the season. Thank you, Edson, for joining us.
No, thank you all for the invite, and have a good night.
Hey, it's all good. Hey, our producers just try to be on top of things there and do stuff with the cameras. But it's always awesome to get some of our fellow podcast friends onto the show. Edson's been great. Jacob's been awesome. He's been on the show quite a few times with us. So it's awesome to see a bunch of this. I see apparently it's when I'm on the episodes that Brad's internet goes haywire, because he was claiming last week it was perfect, and now I'm back and he's having trouble there. So we'll try and get his internet stuff fixed. But I told you this episode is going to go weird, because we're going to go all out of sorts in order. We could easily transition into talking about this last match, but we're not going to quite do that yet, because there was really big news. A couple of big news items that dropped today. We already referenced both of them, but let's get into this Ronaldo thing. Reports coming out earlier today that Ronaldo Damas is on the way out of Orange County because it's interesting. Going to Sweden. Any thoughts on this, Alan? I'll go to you first, since I know that at least your internet's working properly.
Yeah, we talked a little bit about this on the the USL show. We are talking about it on the Orange and Black Soccer Cast. We talked about this a little bit on the USL show, and basically it was like, you knew he was probably short for Orange County. I think the consensus was maybe sometime over summer. But the things to be happy about is you may be sending Ronaldo Damas to a GIF, which is always a fun thing. See GIF Sunsval. It's like, anyway. And the things you're getting back are like 6-figure payment, some sell-ons, some incentives. Like, there's a lot to be happy with, and like the team can do a lot with what Damas was able to provide. So he's able to provide you a cup run that ended with a star above your crest, and now a 6-figure payment. Like, what more do you want from 1 year of a player, right? I think in the long term for Orange County, this again proves that this is a place to go to get noticed and to be moved on to your next destination, and that Orange County is not in a position to deny people that move. I think all of those things are great things for the organization, for young players who are able to say, "I want to move to Europe, so I'm going to go play for Orange County, and I'm going to show what I can do, and then they're going to let me go when I get called upon to go." Right. It hurts in the short term because I don't think you can replace Ronaldo Damas. Like there's no like for like player that you can probably go get right now. But what you can do is you can bring in a couple of really good pieces that give you the equivalent goal scoring output of a Ronaldo Damas.
So I want to put it out there because I want to make sure we're disclosing everything because this is not like a finalized deal. There's no confirmation that this is, and even the report from Kyle Bonagura from ESPN, the tweet came out earlier saying Orange County Soccer Club is close to finalizing the transfer of striker Ronaldo Damas to GIF Sundsvall in the Swedish. What is it? Allsvenskan, I guess is I'm probably butchering that. I'm really good at butchering words, and this is not English, so that's even worse. This is according to sources that have told ESPN, and they're quoting that it will be a 6-figure transfer fee with incentives and a sell on. So again, this is just reports. This is there's no finalization on this. I even reached out to the members or to the club earlier today to see if there's any truth to this, and all I was able to get back was no, there's nothing we can say at this moment about anything that you're seeing on ESPN. I basically just said, hey, is the stuff on ESPN true? Can't say anything is what I was being told. So who knows what is going on with that? But a couple things to look at there. And one of the things I know a few of us were discussing this at the watch party, and I know we've even discussed some of this, is Ronaldo Damas missing from the team at the moment. I believe he is still in Haiti and having difficulty getting his visa to come back to the U.S. or whatever it is that he's having trouble getting back to the U.S. To join Orange County. So part of my belief is that's probably what is impacting this quicker or sooner than maybe was anticipated move for Ronaldo. You're looking at it on two sides, right? The team, you have this player sitting there that has some really good value that you can't get him home. You can't get him to Orange County to represent your team and play games. And then you have Ronaldo, who's a young player that still has plenty of potential, that this is the time that you want to be playing soccer. You want to be on the pitch. You want to be showing your worth and your value to improve your situation in soccer. And he can't do that right now. So I'm going to assume that the process to get a visa or get into Sweden is a little bit easier than it is to get into the US, at least at the moment, from Haiti. And that would be the reason why this is going. I have no knowledge of how that all works. So apologize if I'm wrong on that, but that is where I come down to it, is why this is happening sooner rather than later. One of the things that I was wondering earlier when this first came out is, because most leagues, their winter transfer window ends, end of January, maybe at some point in February. But in Sweden, their transfer window is through the end of March for the winter transfer window. So everything that you're looking at is based on the situation with Ronaldo sort of stuck in Haiti, can't get to the U.S. A team like Orange County seeing some value in this player that really can't play for you right now. And the fact that there is, in fact, an open transfer window in Sweden right now to sign a player, it all looks like a legit, the smoke seems real. It doesn't seem like this is someone that's just like pulling an article or a story out of nowhere and, throwing against the wall and hoping it sticks. Brad, your thoughts on what we're hearing with Ronaldo? Again, not confirmed. Nothing's been announced, but when it comes from ESPN, it's usually a pretty legit source when you're getting ESPN covering it.
Yeah, I guess it's kind of twofold. One, it's very hard to replace Damas. I think next in line for that position, I think we saw this past week would be Milan Iloski, who doesn't stretch the field as much as Damas does, but is definitely capable in his own right, and I think the team will learn to play around him. And the second thing is this: if true, this isn't a free transfer, which is the biggest and most important part. What I think the report said, it's a 6-figure deal plus incentives plus sell-on bonus. So if he goes anywhere else on a transfer, we get a percentage. I don't know how big it's going to be of that deal. So
So we get a
If
like even us the fans, we get a percentage of that sell-on fee. That's awesome. I like
I
that.
wish. But either way, it sounds like we'll just end up seeing in the future. It just shows that if you want to go to Europe, Orange County has a proven track record in that regard. We've sent multiple players so far. We have Kobe Henry, who's rumored to be or who's connected with France, and Francis Jacobs, who's connected with Europe as well. Just all these players. There's plenty of selling points and opportunity within the team for that.
And if the reports are true about not only the fee but a sell on clause or whatever to this transfer. I mean, if anything, if the FIFA video game series, if Football Manager has taught us anything, right, is if you have a player that's young, add a sell on fee, even if it's only for a few percentage points, because at the most their value probably will stick where it is, but it'll more than likely potentially go higher. If you're a 22-year-old, most 22-year-old soccer/football players, their value will increase over the next 3 to 4 years of their career. So again, if the reports are true, you're getting a chunk of change now, and you're getting, basically you're investing in your future. You're getting a pension out of Ronaldo Damas, right? In a few years, you might get some more money out of it, which would be nice to see. But let me also sort of go on here is we've seen teams sneak around some of these sell-on clauses when you look at some European transactions, transfer a person for free, sort of a buddy, or, we'll transfer you this guy for free and you transfer us that guy for free 6 months later, or type thing. I don't know how shady it gets and how regulated it is, but I think those types of things happen, but I'm not saying that would happen here either. Alan, did you have a thought on all this?
Yeah, I was curious about the visa issue. If it's easy, it might maybe easier to get in Sweden due to its like level of recognition as a professional league versus like a second division. I know indoor soccer has a tough time getting visas approved, like the P1 visas approved, because MASL is not considered to be on the same level as like a professional league. So I wonder if it might be easier to convince the Haitian government to give him a visa, or the Swedish government to give him a visa based on the level of that country's soccer performance, right? Like if it's the top league or how it's recognized in Sweden, because visas and sports players get kind of messy and things get drawn out, and it's you can appeal the decisions, but you can lose those, right? So there's guys who are in Mexico right now who can't play indoor soccer in the United States because they can't get the visa approved. So there's all of that situation, I think, that without knowing the ins and outs of Haitian politics or how they view the soccer, I think, that does play a role. But ultimately, like in the grand scheme of things, like you kind of knew he was on the way out. We'll be able to play Ronaldo in FIFA. Yeah,
that was like one of the things I was most excited about, is that he will be available. Probably not in this iteration. I don't know if they'll add him this late into the cycle, but when the next game comes out, rumors are that it won't be called FIFA anymore. It'll be something else, like EA Sports Soccer, or EA Sports Football, or whatever it may be called. But you'll have the option to play with Ronaldo. I know when Mikey Seaton went out to Germany, the third tier team in Germany, that team was in FIFA, and one of the first things I did is I went to go check out Michael Seaton, sign him onto my team, although he was already like 28 or 27 or something at the time, but bring him onto the team and had him starting for Tottenham at some point. Sold Kane and brought in Michael Seaton to start for Tottenham. So that's at least the benefit of what we're seeing there when you have a player moving on to a European club, a bigger league, pretty, for the most part.
That's a good bit of business for you, Ray, because that is a massive improvement.
And it's in the bank, right? In the bank.
Yeah.
On the field, not a massive improvement, but in the bank.
Yeah.
Let's move on.
Yeah. I think that's kind of the fun part to think about, is think about the improvements that you're going to make as a team moving forward if this is accurate, and start dreaming about those next couple of players you're going to sign.
Yeah, and other big news that came out today from Orange County. This was actually official news. So the Ronaldo thing is just a report. Sort of at this point, we'll say it's a rumor or a speculation or, at least a not finalized deal. But the report that came out from Orange County today, and an official, is they reached a partnership or an agreement to stream all their home games. I believe it was all their home games on Bally Sports West, plus I believe 5 additional road games on Bally Sports West. I know one of the big things that Orange County fans, I know anyone that's a USL fan typically will have ESPN Plus, because it's not expensive and you get to watch not just USL matches, but a bunch of other soccer. So if you're watching USL, you probably love soccer. You're probably willing to invest in ESPN Plus. But a benefit of getting a regional sports network to now cover you and show your games, and anyone that's familiar with Bally Sports West knows that, they'll showcase the game live, and then they show replays either later on in the evening or the next day. And it's just going to give that many more opportunities for people randomly switching through channels on whatever cable they have to potentially run into, hey, there's a soccer team and, oh, it says OC. Is that Orange County? Do we have a team in Orange County? So it's really, really, really big. And the other important thing to think about it, right, is I know at least the Galaxy, they're on their own thing, like with Spectrum or whatever. They're tied in with the Dodgers or the Lakers, whichever channel that is. I believe LAFC, I don't know if they've never been on Bally Sports either. I know they at one point had their own YouTube channel. I don't know where they're streaming their games now. But if I can remember correctly, Orange County is going to be the one like local soccer team that's broadcasting on the Bally Sports Network, which sort of gives you a little bit of advantage there. The only downside with Bally Sports, many people that are in Southern California know, is if you have a streaming service, most of the streaming services like YouTube TV, Fubo TV, Hulu with live TV don't have it. I think the only one that does is like the DirecTV / AT&T streaming package, but those ones are like really expensive, so not many people sign up for those. So that's the only downside on this. But again, if you're a streaming person, more than likely you have the ESPN Plus if you're a soccer fan. So you're still getting the product into the eyes of more people in Southern California. And because it's on a sports network and not just like a local Channel 5, Channel 7, people that are watching Bally Sports more than likely like sports, and they might be interested in soccer. I know this is a very long rant that I had. I haven't given you guys a chance to speak yet. Thoughts on this? I'm going to go to you first, Brad. Thoughts on this announcement from Orange County that their matches will be on Bally Sports?
I mean, this is in addition to, not subtracting from, because I believe rumor is it's not going to be making local games broadcast on ESPN Plus as a blackout. So more casual fans just means more people to get introduced to the sport. Is there really a bad side in that? I don't think so.
I think the only drawback is that it's home games instead of away games, because you might get some casual fans interested, but because it's all home games, they were like, well, I mean, I don't have to go. I can sit at home and I can watch. So yes, you're getting probably some money for that, for the deal, right? But does this increase the people wanting to go to games? That's like the hope. And then if it was like it was all away games and some home games, I think that might be an even better deal. So you can get people like, hey, here's the team. Oh, by the way, they're home next week. You should come check them out live. Might be kind of cool. It's great for the team, I think. And like overall, it's probably put some more. Talk about money in the bank, right? I think it's probably put some more money in the bank. And if it gets a few casuals, cool. If not, if it doesn't get you in the door, at least you get some eyes. You get some advertising dollars. Like it's a net benefit for the team. I would just personally like to see it more away than home, but.
And I'm gonna guess that whole like away home thing is, I think, because like I think you don't really see in USL like away teams doing their own broadcast for a stream, right? So there's no benefit for Orange County really to show an away game, except for it gives maybe some viewing numbers. They're not going to get any ad revenue from it, because it's going to probably, more than likely, if they're going to just restream or reshow, or they're going to be simulcasting the opponent's stream. So we all are familiar, you watch against Las Vegas Lights, you see a big old halftime show about fireworks, and you hear about Perum's newest this, and Friendly Toyota, or Finley's Toyota, whatever they are, right? You're getting all the ads from the home team in those, and I think that's more than likely, I'm assuming it's going to be that. I don't think Orange County at this point is going to invest in a broadcast team that they're going to send out to these away matches and do their own stream of these matches. And we don't see that in USL. You don't see teams doing that. I think though, this sets you up for that opportunity where if this becomes successful, you might be able to see Orange County might now be able to start producing their own game streams instead of using USL branded or USL provided content like the play-by-play guys and the production team, right? And you got to remember too, by streaming those home games, those are Orange County's home games, so those ads are Orange County's ads, and the more viewers that tune into the match, the more money they're going to get from the advertisers. They're going to calculate how many eyes got to see, what, and it's going to, I'm sure the contracts with the with the companies is the more viewership, the more you're going to pay for what we're showing to get your message out there. So even by just doing that and getting them on Valley Sports, it's going to allow that to benefit the team. So a bunch of positives here. I know I went to but for people that have YouTube TV or Fubo or whatever, they're going to miss out still. They're probably, those people that really want to watch it are going to be there. Any new eyes to see Orange County is going to be helpful, even if it brings in a few people in, but even just, again, the revenue dollars you're going to get out of it. And it's going to help set this up. If the viewership can at least be enough of a number where Orange County sees a benefit that, okay, hey, this works. Let's work out something with Valley Sports and do some pregame shows, or let's do, special like little weekly recaps. Anyone that watches Clippers or Ducks or Angels on any of those channels, they always have these like this week, Clippers this week or Angels this week or something like that. And it's all these little, fluffy stories about what the team is doing in the community and outreach and, profiles on the players. So these are opportunities that we might be able to see with this type of setup. Ooh. Now, hey, guess what? After all this, we're now on almost the final little bit of this show. We still haven't recapped the match in Colorado Springs. So let's do that right now. Luckily, thanks to, I believe it was you, Alan, with my score prediction for the match against Colorado Springs. I'm in the lead for the predictions, at least for us. I know there actually were some fans that predicted the score correctly. I think I went and looked, and Logan and Blaine actually guessed that it would be a 1-2 match in Colorado Springs. But Orange County, for those that you do not know, if you're watching this show, I don't know how you don't know this, but Orange County traveled up to Colorado Springs to start the defense of their title in the high altitude, first game of the season. I know I said this was a horrible idea to have the season start here, and it showed. Orange County comes up short. They gave up 2 goals. They got a goal back from Milan Olaski, but could not find the equalizer late in the match. So Orange County lost 1-2 to Colorado Springs. Alan, thoughts on this match? And is there anything you saw from this match that Orange County fans should be concerned about at this point, one game into the season?
I mean, there were some good stretches for Orange County, but I thought Orange County had possession, but a lot in their own half, which was kind of a weird place to be, I think, for Orange County for some of the time. And then the ball gets turned over. I thought Kobe Henry had some defensive, I wouldn't say blunders, but just kind of like, I think he does a good job ushering the player to the touchline. But like between the two of them, between Henry and Rakowski, someone's got to get in the way of that ball. Like that's a tough goal to give up. I thought this was a tough match for Orange County to start off with. Colorado was a good team last year, and they're probably going to be better this year. You're at altitude. It looks cold. So you're playing with against the home field advantage in Colorado, which we talked about last time. I just thought Orange County didn't do with possession what they should do or have done in the past. And then they were just a little bit leakier on defense. Like we saw there, we're just able to be opened up when last year maybe they sat back a little bit deeper, and that those types of passes wouldn't have happened. But I think it was a little bit maybe just out of the gate, not great. But I mean, it's a long season. Wake me up after 10 games, and we'll see where people really are. Because I do think Orange County had some nice moments and probably could have walked out with a draw. But you could just as easily say that they could have given up, 3 goals too. So it's like probably a fair result, but an unfortunate one for Orange County. Just not quite enough.
And just like Albie Skendi did in this match, coming in late to get his name on the sheets, our Dylan makes an appearance to try and keep his streak alive. I don't know, gentlemen. Do we allow him to count this as part of his streak? I know he's coming in for the final couple minutes of this episode. Dylan, welcome. Give your quick thoughts on Orange County this past weekend. And hey, Milan Olaski got his first goal in his new colors. Thoughts on all of that?
Yeah, you really took the Albie Skendi reference right out. I was going to say I'm the late arrival in there, and I was not going to say that I'm Osadina for obvious reasons. We didn't play well. We didn't deserve 3 points. Just that Milan Olaski goal gave me a little bit of hope, which was really annoying because then I was like, oh, maybe we can get a point. Maybe we get a point that we don't deserve, and then you have that little bit of hope for 15 minutes, and that's a bit disappointing. I think there's some positives there, and there's some hint of what Orange County is going to look like without Ronaldo Damas playing. It's going to take a little bit of time, and I think it's going to have.
Hey, you missed the Ronaldo Damas talk, so you don't get to chime in on that, Dylan.
That's okay. I mean, I still feel like it's worth mentioning, even if he doesn't transfer at this feet, and it's still not here. So. I'm glad to see that Patrick Kukovsky's still in his good form. You can't fault the first goal that went in. I mean, if it's in off the inside of the post, it doesn't get any better than that. So I like to think there's some growing pains with Kobe, and those will get worked out before the summer. But also, he's got to know his performances in particular do have to be better if he's going to be starting, because pretty soon some visa issues might be worked out, and we might have a different center back there who wears a number under 5.
I will say this, because Dylan was at the watch party at Left Coast Brewing. At least, Dylan, you probably missed about a quarter of the match because there was a big, gigantic orange thing covering or blocking your view of the TV there at Left Coast Brewing. Alan's like, what the heck was that? No, Gnarly was in there, but he was like standing like right in front of the TV for about 25% of the game. And he's very tall and he has a very big head. So sometimes it's hard to see around a tall, fluffy, orange, big-headed, whatever he is.
Yeah, more fun if it was Gritty, but now that we're not undefeated in
Gritty with his like the eyes that move around when he shakes. Let me go to you, Brad. Thoughts on this match? You were watching up there on the ESPN Plus stream by yourself, maybe? I don't know. Were you hanging out by yourself watching Orange County?
I usually spend Saturdays with the girlfriend's family, so I had my little tablet and I was watching on that.
So is that really spending time with the family if you have the tablet out watching soccer?
I mean, it was either that or I think they had that new Pixar movie, Seeing Red or whatever it's called on the TV. But
luckily,
anyways,
Pixar is not our sponsor.
Yeah, no, I'm not getting paid for these thoughts. But my personal thought is if we can play every match like we played the last 40 minutes of this match, I think we're going to be a solid playoff team again this season. I thought the last 40 minutes, we had a lot of really good chances. We had the free kick that hit the crossbar. Milan Olaski's goal was class, good touch by him. We need to play like that in order to win these games, but Colorado Springs is, as we highlighted last week, a very good team, and they are going to be in talk to be in contention to host playoff games this year. They definitely improved from the team we saw late last year.
Really quick before we wrap up our thoughts on this match, because we're watching the replays here on the live stream, you can see the brand new orange kits that we have. Anyone concerned that Orange County did not have the money to fill in the rest of the kit with whatever those stripes were, or do you guys like these kits? I'll go to you, Alan.
Maybe.
You haven't decided if you like them yet or not.
I mean, a shirt is a shirt. If you get a win and put a star on it, does it really matter what it looks like if you're winning?
What about you, Dylan? Thoughts on this new kit? Do you wish they would have invested a few more dollars and finished in those lines on like the shoulders or the sides, or did you like the slimming look that I guess we have here? But let me just say I spoke to some people at the club, and this doesn't seem like this was exactly the design they were wanting or anticipating when they ordered it. So there's potentially that, but yeah, go for it, Dylan.
It looks like a third of the way done. The line design cutting off of the sleeves is weird. Having it just completely off of the back is weird. Honestly, it would have looked better if we just slapped a star on last year's kits, or 2 years ago. Those are pretty solid. But I don't even want to think about this kit again, because like all the other ones, it'll probably grow on me over time. And like Alan said, it's got a star in it, so that's pretty freaking cool. Not a lot of other clubs.
The star benefits any of these kits. I mean, don't get me wrong, the star looks awesome on these kits, but again, I was asked my honest opinion by some people at the club, and I gave my honest opinion. I don't get why the lines stop like a couple inches short of the seam at the top of the shoulder, or why they don't go all the way to the seam on the sides. Why it's like almost like you're trying to make our players look very skinny because of the way the stripes go. But hey, that's the thing with this, right? Is there's opinions. Some people love shirts and some people don't love shirts. And I think all of us are in agreement that we'd rather see the club invest the big bucks in building a good squad, building a good program, investing in some youth, some young talent, instead of being like, say, Ford Madison and investing in, or like a Las Vegas Lights and investing a lot of money into very amazing, unique kits. Now, who knows? Maybe that's a good investment because, they probably do sell quite a bit of their kits. Some of these teams. I mean, wasn't it like 2 years ago, Las Vegas had like a new kit for every home match? I mean, there's some marketing there potentially, but who knows? And people, I guess some people Golington likes both shirts. I don't know what both shirts mean, because there's 3 different shirts, I believe, but who knows
we only know
which one he doesn't, which one doesn't Golington like. Alan, thoughts, or Brad or Alan, one of you fight over it. I don't care.
Go first.
No comment on the dust kits.
Alan's favorite, by the way.
I mean, I liked them before.
Brad.
Okay. I already.
And I was going to get to that, Harry. I was going to talk about that, but we'll let Brad get his last thoughts on.
I already said my opinion on the new black kits last week. I feel like I'm in the minority. I actually like these orange.
They have a star. They have a star.
It's not
that. Wasn't that the argument? Even Alan liked that argument of they have the orange ones have a star, so they're great.
I actually do like the new orange kits. I don't know why. I guess when the shirt that I'm currently wearing, which is the 2020 Reno 1868 shirt, came out, I hated it, but it grew on me. This new orange kit that we have, kind of, at first I didn't like it, but I grew on it really quick, so I actually do like
them. So let's talk about another team's kit, because we all saw San Antonio this weekend play. And let me ask you this. Did anyone watch any part of the game or any highlights? And if so, could you tell the jersey numbers or the names on the back of those jerseys at any point when watching that match? Alan, you raise your hand, so I'm going to go to you.
I already used this one joke once, but I said I thought San Antonio played pretty well. I would tell you which player did, but I couldn't tell them apart.
It reminded me of a few years back, my very first time being a credentialed media member at an Orange County game was an Open Cup match. I believe it was against Golden State Force FC soccer club thingamajigger. But they wore white kits with like a very light gold numbering and lettering. And up in the press box, I was up there and I could not see any names or any numbers. I don't know on the stream. I would assume because it was San Antonio, it was like San Antonio announcers doing this game, so they probably had a few weeks to prepare for it. But I'm interested to see how a Devin Kerr or a Mike Watts deal with trying to call this game when all they're doing is they're sitting at a computer like we do when we record our podcast. So you only have a small little screen of what's going on, and it'll be interesting, right? So thank you, producer, for getting the name right. FC Golden State Force. But it was very interesting. I want to know who came up with black on black for that. And isn't there some sort of rule against this? Because it ruins the ability for press, fans, commentators, even like officials to see what's going on. Dylan, throw in your 2 cents here. Or 3 cents.
Bad kit. They shouldn't be wearing it. I don't know why the USL approved that, but I think we've already established for a multitude of reasons that the league just does whatever they want, and nothing has. It's a bit like trying to think that '90s game show. Whose line is it anyway? The rules are all made up, and they don't count for anything. So, welcome to the USL.
There we go. Brad,
I mean, if you want to see
you're going to tell us, Brad, that you love those kits and
no. For like the whole YouTuber concept of like this but better, if you want to see a better example of how to do a black and dark kit, look at the chrome kits from Oakland. It's their black default kit, and they're easier to read. It keeps the same black and chrome idea, and it just looks cleaner.
And by all means, I mean it looks neat, and the concept of it's neat, and it would be good as if it's like just like let's sell this kit to the fans, but let's not actually wear it in the stands. This can be like just sort of an exclusive for sale in our shop, but it just makes it so difficult for fans and everyone else to be able to tell what's going on. It's almost like I could imagine if Orange County had orange kits with orange lettering. We're out there and we're trying to, it's a preseason game and we're given approval to do the play-by-play for that. And I could just imagine Alan from San Diego looking on his computer screen, trying to pick out numbers and guess who's who on that. But interesting choice. We'll see how it goes throughout the year, and we'll see if this is something that is allowed to continue or if this is an experiment and they figure out, nope, this doesn't work. By the way,
Ray,
anyone that follows me on Twitter, I posted a poll asking, can we keep this episode at an hour or less? 3 of you voted that we wouldn't be able to, and you all were correct. So great job. Give yourself a pat on the back. The 3 of you that voted.
By the way, there is another team that did a monochrome kit this year. That was a team in, I believe, they're in London, and even they couldn't say London was still red because they were all white. But I think that was for like anti-knife crime. So it was like a specific initiative that they were highlighting wearing a
they didn't want to wear blood on their red on their jersey if they're doing an anti-knife night.
Correct. They also realized that London is not actually red. It's nothing. It's an unnamed soccer club.
I mean,
FC.
Statistics would tell you, at least in the Premier League, that it's blue, right?
Are we talking about the unnamed London Football Club?
Well, because there's also Tottenham wears blue, right? So there's more teams that wear blue in London than red, if that makes sense.
I would have to investigate that claim with all of the teams in all of the leagues in London.
I said, but I did say, but in Premier League.
Yeah, in the history of the Premier League, I will have to look to see all of the London clubs and what color they were before I agree to whether or not that's a factual statement or not. Like we have to have
welcome to the Orange and Black Soccer Cast.
We have to have in journalistic integrity here, so I have to investigate that claim before I agree to it.
Oh, we have journalistic integrity now, huh, Alan? I love it.
I would advise my co-host A Underwood 48 to not say anything more, given we might be restricted in the United Kingdom for some of our comments.
Okay. Let's do this really quick. Any other soccer stuff anyone wants to talk about before we move on to our random thoughts?
Yeah, I'm going to give my first weekly update on the least versus best conference matchups. We already kind of discussed it real quick in terms of jerseys, but in the inaugural 2022 East versus West, San Antonio beat Detroit City. So right now the Western Conference is up 1-0 on the Eastern.
Although this coming week it's Memphis 901 versus Oakland, and Oakland's on the road. So
And Tulsa versus Loyal, and Loyal's on the road. But you need that
Loyal.
one.
That's
I
next.
believe that's next week. Yeah.
That's the week after, because next week they're playing Sacramento.
Did I mess that up already? I'm not even 2 weeks.
Already messing up.
That's next Wednesday. It's next Wednesday, not tomorrow.
Dylan, you have any random soccer to discuss? Sure. Let's move on to random thoughts. We'll go to Alan first. Alan, what's your random thought of the evening?
My random thought is taking my kids to SCSBOA Festival on Thursday, and none of my students have ever been to festival before, so it is going to be herding cats and chaos. But I hope they have a good time because that's what it's all about. So that's
what musical selection are you guys performing at this festival?
Beginning band is playing Dragon Slayer, then they're playing Atomic Clock, and then they're playing Presto. Symphonic Band is playing Cedar Canyon Roundup, and then they are playing a piece called Shenanigans, which is my favorite title, and Escape from Thunder Mountain is the third piece.
Perfect. And Brad, which one out of all those ones that Alan's bands are playing, which is your favorite piece?
No comment.
Dylan, do you have a favorite out of those amazing song selections Alan picked for his beginning symphony and whatever the other band is?
I'm a big fan of Escape from Thunder Mountain. That's fun.
It's a pretty good one.
Is that the song they play while you're riding the ride at Disneyland?
No.
Pretty sure that's not Thunder Mountain.
It's not Thunder Mountain. What Disneyland have you been to?
Thunder Mountain Railroad. This here is the wildest ride in the wilderness. Hold on to them hats and glasses.
Even Brad, who's not from Southern California, knew that there was a Thunder Mountain because I could tell by his face palm there. Dylan, random thought from you, Dylan.
I actually have a special guest who'd like to make a random thought. RE the Kids. So welcome back to the podcast.
Hey, Nikki's here. What's up, Nikki?
Hi.
Nikki, you work on Thunder Mountain Railroad.
The kits should be pink and purple, maybe even some rainbow with some hearts, so that everyone has to confront their toxic men.
Apparently, Dylan, our producer, kicked that comment off. That was all about our producer there. But Nikki, how long were the wait times today on Thunder Mountain Railroad?
3 hours.
3 hours today. Awesome. Perfect. And if you saw, Brad had a pink and yellow.
Yeah.
Orange County has worn in
It's
back.
pink and yellow. It's not red and rainbow.
There are some colors that you like there. Hey, there's pink, which is the color of hearts, and yellow is in rainbows. So that
if I would ever
feel threatened, does your masculinity feel threatened?
No. If there was ever a rainbow kit, I would probably buy a rainbow kit if it was a one-off thing.
Real men will wear pink. I mean, that's
what you should do,
and not call it salmon.
You should get one of those the Dark Knight Forever kits or whatever, the dust kit, and like just bedazzle it and like make it fabulous, and then
then it'll look like a Las Vegas Lights kit. I mean, right? I mean, isn't Las Vegas. Nikki was describing a Las Vegas Lights kick, so she should just become a Las Vegas Lights fan.
All right, I'm gonna have to go. Some more out. Yeah. Everyone.
Wow.
Okay, Brad, random thought from you.
My random thought is musicals are fun.
Are you performing in a new musical?
Now we are doing James and the Giant Peach on High Dog, and this summer looking at doing Hairspray.
We are losing Brad to musical theater. Eventually, he's going to be.
No, I'm here,
Broadway,
and I was on time.
He will be too big to perform.
Oh, I do have one more thing. Do we allow Dylan a prediction for this week, or do we take the liberty of giving him a prediction?
He wasn't here when we previewed the match, so he doesn't know.
11.
He doesn't predict it. 11 to No. Wait. No.
250.
I think
11
his
to
score
50.
was 1001 because if you look, he was holding up the one and there was the two circles.
Oh,
from his
it's like when you
glasses,
do
so-
mom. I get it.
Yeah. So
101 to 50.
1001 to V. 1001 to V, Brad.
We are playing charades. I love this.
So you-
Yeah, for those of you that are listening to the podcast, you're missing out because Dylan was doing an amazing job of trying to get some charades. Random thought for me. Thanks for listening. I don't know where to go. Oh, random thought for me. In a couple days, St. Patrick's Day. Enjoy your St. Patrick's Day, but be safe. Don't drink and drive. And don't drink and podcast because apparently things get messed up when you do so. Yeah, I want to thank our guest this week, Edson Ochoa, for jumping on. And everything went smoothly on that. And thank all of our listeners who listened live and contributed some questions and some comments and all that fun stuff. For Alan, for Brad, and Dylan making an appearance just so we can keep a streak alive, jumping in the 83rd minute of this podcast. That's the type of person he's just worried about his streak and not worried about the team. But thank you for doing so, Dylan. For everyone, this is the Orange and Black Soccer Cast, and we are out. Oh, God.